Hello, good evening, and Jai Hind. I'm Major Mohammed Ali Shah, and I am very happy to have a very, very special guest with us today who would be we would be discussing about what could be the way forward and how can we bring about peace in a beautiful land, in a beautiful state like Manipur. He is a Meitei Pangal. Meitei Pangals are the Manipuri Muslims. They come in the Meitei category of Pangal. They are from that community. So we have with us Dr. Farijuddin Khan, who is a very well renowned, a very respected commentator on strategic affairs. And Dr. Farijuddin, thank you very much for spending time for us, sir.
Uh, Thank you, Major Shah, for hosting me for this great opportunity. I'm a big fan. I've been following you at least since the Manipur mayhem unfolded, and you have been holding interviews with eminent personalities, people who don't only belong to the both communities but other third eye, to have a third perspective. You are speaking to people, and I'm a great fan actually, and your passion, your in-depth analysis, your knowledge about Manipur, about the state, which is very rare also. And I must appreciate the I must let the viewers know also that Major Saab is his passion about Manipur, about the communities, is unparalleled, and I'm very thankful that for such your activities, and I pray that you continue.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. Thank you very much. It's very, very kind of you to have given those kind words. Yes, it's true. It's a fact that I feel very, very passionately for the entire. Well, I don't know why people call it the Northeast. I would call it the Northeast part of India, or I would call it the Eastern India for that matter. And
Yes.
they all are very, very loving, affectionate people like you, in fact. So, what do you think, according to you, could be the way forward to establish peace in Manipur, sir?
Yeah, that is the most pertinent question right now. Mr. Saab, as you have seen, since the beginning of May, things unfortunately have been, unfolding in a way that lots of violence, lots of hatred, lots of accusations have been doing it. I don't want to go into the detail only, but this is very unfortunately, particularly my generation has not seen such kind of violence except in the when we were kids. We used to hear, but we have not witnessed. But now our generation is witnessing, and very much at the outset, I would like to tell that this kind of mayhem is not only affecting the community, not only affecting the state, but it is actually affecting the psyche of all Indians beyond the border of Manipur. And the solution, before I come to the solution, actually the kind of you know this kind of hatred, this kind of name callings, this kind of violence, uh, even though it's quite unfortunate, but it is unprecedented. However, the kind of thing is completely different from what we have heard in the 90s, even before that. uh, it is like, before coming to this solution, I must say that uh, things have a bit of become normalized. But again, the moment we started thinking that Manipur rule law has come and things are going normalized, again some incidents here and there in the periphery at least comes into play. And the interplay, the complexity of this situation, which involves failure, or I must say at least lack of law and governance, the inability to control the law and order situation in the Manipur, and the kind of involvement of people, common general people, the apprehensions, anxiety. I mean, this is very complex to resolve. However, violence cannot be, it should not be allowed to go on. And the first thing that we have to do is, it should start the peace process. Before peace process, the violence must end. So I would like to divide into two things. The violence hasn't stopped. The rule of law in the state has not stand on its own, so that in the way that some kind of confidence is given to the people that yes, whatever happened has happened. Now the governance has come into it, the state machinery, the security machinery has come into it, and they are unable to, police are unable, the security forces are unable to control this. The situation has not come, unfortunately. This has to come first. That means the violence has to stop completely, and the security forces, including the state police, has to come into play. The government is trying, both the central as well as state. I must say that, and we appreciate it. But somewhere it is lacking that people still think that some people, some miscreants, still think that they can do something which is like outrageous, and still they can go scot free. That is a mentality very dangerous, and that situation is still there. First, the violence has to end, the law and order has to be established. Then we can talk about peaceful reconciliation after the violence has ended. Once the moment the peaceful reconciliation, or yeah, rehabilitation, conciliation talks, violence comes. And I am very certain that some people, across the communities, particularly, the kind of warring communities, they seem to don't like peace to come, totally, in totality. Somewhere there is like the moment the government or the civil society organizations try to, assert the fact that enough is enough, violence should be stopped and peace should come, there should be talk about peace, then somewhere or other the miscreants started creating violent activities, and that has become very difficult both for the Manipuri people as well as for the government authorities, particularly the security forces. I must say that I will elaborate in the next 2 3 minutes, that I must say that we have to do a lot. First, the violence, that part has to be done by the state, including center. When I say state, it includes center and both the 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 state government. Once it is to be done, then only the civil society organizations, people even beyond the state, people outside the state, they all are also experts, should also be called in, and there should be a community peace kind of confidence building measures that has to happen. And that again tells, until unless this violence is there, mistrust will not be there. And once mistrust, that the eagerness to speak, the eagerness to shade those mistrust ignites among the communities, affected communities, then peace negotiation, this negotiating table kind of exercise will not happen, and that is unfortunately far from what we see right now. Yes.
Right, very well brought out by you. In fact, you know what? Like the Nagas over there are neutral. They are neutral people. So nobody likes the kind of bloodshed that has been going through. That we've seen in Manipur, and destruction of houses and property and lives. So
Yes.
why can't the neutral parties come forward, step in as a peace broker, and say, okay, enough is enough, guys. Come, cookies are my friends. Even Meitei are my friends. Let me get them on the table to talk. So why do you think that hasn't happened so far, sir?
Yes. Yes, I'll tell that second part, but I just want to your audience to know, like, you have already started a bit of introduction about my community. My community, Meitei Pangan, or simply Pangan, uh, we have been here for many centuries, at least beginning of our history start from early 17th century, 1606 AD. So, except the religion which we follow, Islam, uh, other cultural dimensions, for example, starting from our language, my mother tongue is Metelon, uh, by lots of food habits, like dressing styles, we have successfully assimilated to the Meitei community starting from 17th century. So I would say that our DNA, our closest cousins, our closest blood is with Meiteis. This is a fact. So we are. That's why we call it Meitei Pangal, or somebody call it in the media Meitei Muslims, because of our religion. So apart from there is a bit of difference, because for Meiteis as a ethnic communities, dominant majority follow Hinduism, and many of them follow other religions, including Christians. So apart from that religious differences, we otherwise there is hardly many differences between Pangals, Meitei Pangals, and Meiteis. So naturally, we have been also the dwellers of one of the communities, valley dwelling communities, and our neighborhoods, Meitei and Meitei Pangan neighborhoods, are like It's just we have been neighbors for centuries since the beginning of our settlement here in this beautiful state. So we also have sentiments which is exactly, if not exactly, it's quite similar to whatever the be it political, social, or economic with Meiteis. We are very close, the closest, being the closest communities, and my community is micro community. So we have multiple identities. Being Muslim is one of them, a small part of it, but otherwise we have cultural similarities, cultural other similarities with Meitei. So my community being micro minorities in this conflict, honestly and frankly, I would say that we have also been affected. In the beginning, we thought that this kind of violence it had happened before, some 30 years back or say 20 years back, but this kind of violence will subside after 2 3 weeks. But this doesn't have the kind of hatred, the kind of scale is unprecedented, and it's worst in the history, at least of my generation. So my community has been, since the beginning, has been like willingly, unwillingly, or say consciously or semi-consciously, has been part of this conflict since the beginning. The only thing is that physically the communities don't involve it because we have been living together for centuries, for decades. However, the kind of the for I can't speak for my whole community in the sense that I'm not elected by them, but I can represent their sentiments, conscience of my own community. That this community, the Pangal community, uh, communities stand on Manipur's integrity, Manipur's this thing, the idea of Manipur, a vibrant, dynamic, racial, multi-ethnic, and prosperous Manipur is equally shared with the dominant Meiteis also. We don't differ. There can't be no two opinions. We don't differ at all when it comes to integrity of the state and the larger idea of Manipur. Having said that, we all are also sometimes, provoked in the sense that, in the communal riot, in the communal kind of tension, what happens is some 30, 40 miles away or kilometers away from my place, if somebody is provoked and there is a clash, very localized clash, and that has happened in Meitei also, a clash that started in Churachandpur, it should have been contained in that region and should not be reached in Imphal, but it reached across the state. So some in communal tensions happen that somebody, because of personal reason or something which is not connected to me or my communities, it affected. And we have seen these in 90s. This is the nature of. So we are also very concerned, anxiety, despite our complete stain on where we stand regarding the integrity and idea of Manipur. And this is very unfortunate also. And I fear that this violence starting between two major communities of the state is also slowly expanding. Unfortunately, to other Nagas have been kind of like involved. I don't know whether they are compelled or not. But my community, which in the media discourses since the beginning have not been properly mentioned or something, maybe perhaps because of the meager population of some 8.4%, configuration, or 8.4% because of that. But however, this community or my community has also been, affected, and because of our situations, because of our geographical as well as ethnic closeness with Meiteis. So the cookies would say that in certain parts, Meitei Pangans are sandwiched between these two major communities, Meiteis and Cookies. So sometimes Cookies accuse the community, and when they accuse, they don't accuse the Pangans staying in that region or in that part only. They accuse the whole community in the state. And we as a community, which is sort of kind of we also don't have any places to go because our local attachment, our sentiments, our languages, our cultures are rooted to this state, to this valley centric, cultural thing. So we also don't. So we are fear where to go, and we can't run away like many communities do. We were born, we were raised, we are historical origins, genesis attached with this state. So we are also concerned. However, from the beginning itself, I have listened to local news as well as this some Naga, particularly Tangkul leaders, have proposed something peace resolution, and this happened even before the Union Honorable Union Home Minister visited on May 29. So the team included and led by this Tangkul person, CSO, Mr. Asang Kasar, and along with some Meitei Pangans, leaders, including some religious leaders, they were trying to broker a peace between the communities. But again, the kind nature of violence, the nature of conflict, the nature of ethnic strife is such that it's more of a sentimental and very kind of violent. So it could not happen. Even the union minister's proposal also did not uh, successful. But still, this community, it's not something that this community or my community has not tried to broker peace. But the kind of ethnic thing is that one of the journalists of the Indian Today beautifully described that in this conflict, there is no politician, there is no bureaucracy, there is no doctors, whoever belong to this ethnic. So everything has been ethnicized, like they will not speak freely. They will always have kind of like ethnic baggages. So in this kind of situation, it becomes very easy even to, it becomes very sometimes difficult to even try to talk about peace in the ground, in the ground, go to the ground, because people will accuse that, okay, your community tried to be neutral, let's see what your community is doing. You are siding with that. So either side, whether we participate actively or not participatively, and the kind of violence, the nature of violence, this particular community, including my community, being a small, we are very kind of concerned about it, even to propose it on the ground, because people started, giving some labeling that you are with these, you are not with us. So it's easy to say on the uh, public platform in news channel that yeah, it's easy, it's a good thing, but there is also a reality that it's very difficult to in this situation. So the first thing I always stick to the point that the government should do it, because it has the legitimate, authority even to use violence, which the civil society organizations, uh, concerned citizen or concerned Manipuri like me cannot do it. So the first, it has to be, the interference has to be done, of course, with the support of people. It has to
You
be done
mean
by the state.
force? You mean force?
Yes, yes. Whatever the state needs, it has to be done. The first round. Only then there is a law and order situation, when people realize, those miscreants who want to expand this violence or want to create violence, understand that if I do something, there is a consequence. Only that kind of situation comes. It hasn't comes, unfortunately. Then any people, whether they are preacher, whether they are civil society organizations, can come and say frankly and openly with creativity how to bring about a peace in that. So jumping directly to the peace as a broker, it is also difficult for personal safety as well as safety of my own community. It's not that easy, but we are trying at the best to contact people whom we can talk, at least to reduce violence. That's that thing I want to keep.
Right. You mentioned
Yes.
about Asang Kasar, the Tangkol Naga. In fact, I spoke to him. I had the honor of interviewing him as well. I asked him, why can't we get together and bring peace about, get the both the communities to talk to each other, dialogue, and whatever
Yes.
misgiving, misunderstanding could be sorted out. In fact, there's this gentleman, Mr. Amrish Singh Pawa. He's a
Mm.
Manipuri Sikh. In fact, he's a Sikh gentleman who's born, brought up in Manipur. So we all are doing our little bit. In fact, we mentioned about the Meiteis. Also, people do not know about Meiteis. They think that Meiteis are just
Mm.
the Manipuri Hindus. They are Meiteis, like you are a Meitei being a Muslim. That's a Pangal. They are
Mm.
Sanamais for our viewers to
Mm.
know. And they are
Yes.
Meitei Christian as well. Like Rohan is I interviewed Rohan as well, and he's
Yes.
a cyclist, and he's so they are like, and they would be having names like Laishram Raju Singh, which is
Mm-hmm.
actually a Hindu name, but they could be Meitei Pangal, the Meitei Christian as well. So,
Yes.
Faridin Bhai, thank you so much for taking our time. And before we part ways, any last message you would like to throw out in the universe, sir?
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Uh, yes. The last is that I would say in a brief that despite all the what is happening, I mean, there has been mistakes. As an insider, I know there has been mistakes committed, and violence is violence. People want to call it war, but I don't want to call this war. It's an ethnic strife that will go with time, passage of time. I don't want to call it a war. Uh, this has to go, and no matter what we do, there's a saying that if you want to take it as a war, also in war there is no victors but only survivors. So no one is winning in this so-called conflict, in this so-called war, in this conflict. Peace has to come. For more than 20 years, insurgency has been weeded out. AFSPA has been removed from many police stations, in particularly in Imphal city. The state has seen growth. The state has also seen, inter-community dialogues. The trust building exercise has been built in the last at least 7, 8 years. The For the 20 years, we have like students coming back, people who have started working in Delhi and other metropolitan cities. They have come back and started their own business. So Manipur has progressed so much. But this unfortunate incident, it's a very unfortunate that I hope this does not happen. But it is again taking back two steps behind, and I appeal to the thing that there should no more be communal rumors. There should no be any attempt, and Manipur should build peace together. And Manipur is a state where dominant communities are there, but at the same time, it is like India. It is a mini India where there is multiple, there is diversity, and we should start intercultural dialogues. However, after violence is ceased, and it is imperative on the state, both the government, to stop violence at all, so that the peacemakers, peace builders can enter this spot and start rebuilding the Manipur that we saw for the last 20 years. Thank you.
Very well said by you, Farijuddin bhai. Very, very well said by you. In fact, I hope everyone is listening, and people they should take a note of it. In fact, I've got very, very dear friends who are Pangal as well. There was a very, very dear friend of mine from the army, a colleague of mine called Jamruddin. Jamruddin bhai, if at all this video अगर आप तक ये पहुंचता है और आप तक please आप संपर्क करें. I was trying to get in touch with Jamruddin bhai, and a very, very dear friend of mine, Abdul Qadir Shah, who's from the National School of Drama. He's a very, very reputed big name in theatre, in fact. तो बहुत से लोग हैं जो आप प्लीज try to bring in peace in a beautiful state. I mean, bloodshed, it will not lead anywhere. It will just, the venom, the poison will only spread further. Thank you, Farijuddin bhai. It's been a real honor and a pleasure being in conversation with you, and you've given out such amazing insights. Thank you very much, bhai. Jai Hind, brother.
Jai Hind, Jai Hind. Thank you so much for hosting me. Thank you.